Welcome back to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're here with our good friend, John Barzizza. He's a board member with SRVS, and we'll learn all about what the organization does. He's also, too, the chairman of Sparkling Nights. It's going to be the 22nd Sparkling Nights, a virtual version this year, so we'll talk all about what that means. But, John, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me today.
So we love SRVS, do amazing work in the community. They're also, too, a sponsor, and thank you for that, of the Spark, our TV show. So we have a long partnership with SRVS, especially with Lipscomb Pitts Insurance as well. But give listeners some context. When you talk about SRVS and the organization, talk about the mission and the purpose.
Well, SRVS, going back in history, 1960, a group of ladies, and one of them was Dorothy Wilson, Kim Wilson Sr.'s wife, got together and raised $30,000 collecting nickels, dimes, and quarters, and opened up the first occupational workshop, the first ever. So it was nothing in the community at all for adult individuals who were developmentally disabled. And so the shop opened in 1962. In 1988, three different organizations came together. SRVS became Shelby Residential Vocational Services, I should say, the acronym SRVS. So over all those years, basically the organization was the shop, but when they merged with the other organizations, they included in their programming residential programs, programs reaching out to people in the community who have their loved ones at home, and to get them supports from the state and the federal government. Going forward, we've grown tremendously over the years, and about 25, 26 years ago, the Arlington court case was a hot topic across the state, and Arlington was deemed to close by the feds. And so we took on at SRVS roughly over 200 individuals. And so that really enhanced or increased the number of people that we were serving. We went from just a few hundred to roughly 450 at the time. And as we moved along over the years, there have been more and more mandates by the state in regards to those developmentally disabled people who are living in the group home. So consequently, more and more programming has been brought into SRVS as far as PT, occupational therapy, you name it. And so over the years, we've grown even more substantially with an employment program. In fact, a number of years ago, the DOJ decided they didn't want to see any more occupational workshops across the country. So consequently, Governor Haslam called us and asked us to put together a state-of-the-art employment program. We did. Of the 150 individuals we had at our sheltered workshop, we got 125 of them employed in the community. We already had about 40 people in the community at the time. So our emphasis today is more towards the employment and then taking care of those people who are in the group homes. We have roughly 48 homes, and then we have supported living homes. And we still reach out to the folks in the community and try to help any way we can. About 5 years ago, we merged with Special Kids and Families, which is a program for preschoolers that's housed in the Independent Presbyterian Church. And so now it's one of our programs, and it's done remarkably well since we merged them with us. They've gone from roughly 350 kids, spending maybe no more than a few days a month to almost every day. Now we have over 600. So all total, we're serving over 1,900 developmentally disabled children and adults in our community.
Yeah, that's amazing. Talk about why you personally serve and are so passionate about SRVS.
My passion is because of my sons. Both of my sons are developmentally disabled. The younger one is 39 this year, and the older one is 46. And so they are profoundly mentally handicapped. Both of them, John, the older one, was at Arlington. That's what brought me to SRVS. when Arlington's population was being reduced, I got a call from a lady who worked for SRVS. Consequently, I said yes because the lady happened to be my neighbor. and, and then some years later, I got the call from the executive director at SRVS, and that Justin was the younger son was part of the class action lawsuit. And so consequently, both the boys are living in SRVS group homes. So here I am, and today I've been on the board for over 25 years, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. And I've worked very hard over the years to enhance SRVS from having essentially no PR department to having a very good PR and development department today.
Well, I think it's important to understand the passion behind the purpose, and for you, knowing that it's personal means so much. Give us one thing that you wish everyone knew about SRVS, just from obviously your vantage point and getting to see the people and what it means for you and your family. Give us something that you wish everyone knew about SRVS.
Seeing the people and at work, whether they were in the shop in the days of the shop, and how happy they were in the shop, or those that are in the day center. We 2008, we decided to have a capital campaign because we outgrew our old building. I bought a building without the executive director's knowledge, and
surprise.
yeah, surprise. I called her on the phone. I said, we bought a building last night, and she said, oh, really? and I said, don't worry, we'll get it financed, not to worry. And she says, can I see it? But anyway, moved into what is it, 84,000 square foot, 2-story office building across the street from Delta Medical on Knight Arnold. And having to shop there, and having the people in the day center there, and seeing them interact with each other, interact with the staff, interact with visitors. Carnival Memphis is always a big visitor with all of their royalty and so on, and the boll weevils and the folks just eat it up. They just, but seeing them smile, seeing them at work and play, it does my heart good. And it does. I mean, there was one guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but there was one guy who was the king of Carnival one year. He left the building crying and joined the board the next day.
Nice.
Yeah. He was really taken back by it, and then it's helped in recruitment of board members. So but seeing them in their lives, and I've also worked when I get a lot of calls from people because of my involvement. I get a lot of calls from people who have their loved ones at home, their adult loved ones at home. And as an example, there's this lady who I can't mention any names, but she was concerned because her mother's 85 years old, her sister is 60 years old, she's 53 years old. She saw a dead-end street for her in the rest of her life, and so she wanted to know what we had to offer. Unfortunately, the mother didn't want to do anything at the time. Then we've had another situation where a lady called me, but actually a couple called me. Their grandchild was with maladaptive behaviors, 15 years old, was biting, scratching, and all the maladaptive behaviors, pica behaviors as well. And they were at wit's end as to what to do. And so it took a year, but we got that little gal in one of our group homes, and it gave quality of life for her and a quality of life for the parents and for the grandparents.
Yeah. And going back to your point about coming in and just seeing everything and seeing not only the facility, which is state of the art and amazing, and really cool in terms of the way it's structured with all these rooms that are built around experiential opportunities like music and therapeutic learning, and even a kitchen area where they can learn to cook and be independent and make their own beds and all these really cool things. But to your point, seeing the smiles and seeing just the love that's exuded. You can't help but walk through there and just feel the love and walk out a changed person, to your point. So
Oh,
it's
there's
definitely
no
something I
question.
encourage everyone to do, is to see it, because it will change you for sure.
Our staff is unbelievable, and they show more love than you could ever imagine. Yeah, all of the programs across the state have turnover problems, but we have probably the least of particularly of a agency of our size, uh, because our people are so devoted and dedicated to the individuals that they work with on a daily basis.
Yeah. So let's switch over and talk about this big event, which is obviously extremely important given everything that's going on right now with COVID-19 and raising funds to keep the doors open and the mission alive and to do everything that SERVS does. So it's the 22nd annual Sparkling Nights, and this year it's a little different, moving into a virtual platform. So it's an online version. Give us a little bit of the experience and talk about the history of Sparkling Nights.
Well, we started in 1999. I was a wholesale liquor, wine, and beer distributor, and having my sons there, and I'm also a conservator for another young man who's developmentally disabled, who lives in a home. Um, we had our first event at what at the time was Union Planters Bank Building on Poplar, and we had 87 people in attendance and raised $10,000. And it was we did this on a lark. It was in the banking room, and the room that's adjacent to the banking room. It's kind of like a big meeting room. And we invited some restaurants to participate, and I got my wine suppliers to participate. So and this was on a Sunday afternoon, and then we went the next 2 years on Sunday afternoons at 2 different locations. Then we decided to go big time and go with a Saturday night, and our traditional day is the second Saturday night of August. So last year we had a tremendous crowd. I mean, we generally do. We had roughly 16 local restaurants participating. This was at the Hilton last year. We had I don't know how many different wineries are represented from my successor company. We sold out almost 8 years ago, and the guy who bought the company promised me that in perpetuity that we will continue having sparkling nights, and God bless him. I love him, but anyway, we've had a series of fabulous events since the fact that Dorothy Wilson was one of the ladies instrumental in raising funds way back in time. We honored her at the Holiday Inn at the University of Memphis back a few years ago, and I called Kim Wilson, who's been a friend of mine for a long time, Kim Jr. And I asked him, I said, would you think your brothers and sisters would mind us honoring your mom for what she did at Sparkling Nights at the Holiday Inn at the University of Memphis? And he says, well, let me get back to you. And so Spence and Betty and Carol and Bob all said yes. And so they were all excited. And it happened to be the same night that some of the younger Wilson generation who were instrumental in Crosstown Concourse, it was the same night of their grand opening. And so, but we had the lion's share of the family. There's only 83 people that are direct descendants of Dorothy and Kim and Senior. And so we had the lion's share, even a brand new newborn. And I had to back up during a live auction. I was bidding against against Carol. And I said, I better stop. She got the auction item. But we have a tremendous time at that event. And unfortunately, with COVID-19, we've had to cancel 2 other events, fundraising events, and we had to cancel Sparkling Nights. So, and I was thinking, or trying to think anyway, considering my brain is old, I decided to try a virtual event, and we're planning on doing this on August the 20th. It'll be on YouTube, And one of the wonderful things about it is if people don't participate that night, they can still go back on YouTube and participate. Our partners are uh, folks like cityCURRENT, uh, Buster's Wine and Liquor. In fact, Josh Hammond, I'm meeting with Josh in a little while this morning, and we're going to finalize what they're doing. But what we're having is Josh is going to put together the packages of wine and some, I can't, and foodstuffs.
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie, thank you. I always have
I
a
knew where you
problem
were going with
that.
that word. That's a tough
Anyway,
word.
it is a tough word for me. But anyway, and he's going to do some of his ID products, cutting boards and wine openers, that kind of thing, and put together packages. People can call in to serves to register. There will be a fee to register and so forth. We'll have packages. Busters will put together packages for 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 people, considering that's phase one of 10 is the most.
Right.
And so it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it really and truly is. We're going to have we haven't selected West Tennessee Crown, Chris Pratt, who is their general sales manager. He's working right now and getting a wine company to have one of their winemakers make the presentation. And the whole event will take place, as I said, on YouTube, and last no more than 45 minutes because people do have short attention spans. and we're Fran Matheny, who is also a board member. She's going to make a short presentation about serves, a little bit about the history and what we do. And then we'll have some of our folks that we do serve who are high functioning and love music, and they'll make a little presentation or some songs, maybe a dance or something. That's not been finalized yet, but we're really excited about this. It's new territory, something that I'm certainly not used to. I even had a hard time figuring out Zoom. So,
But I think though that the reality is we're all in this together. We're all going through this together. We're learning to adapt in terms of the in-person events and moving them to the virtual environment. And the thing is once you make that pivot, it really does open up the floodgates on new ways to tell your story. And it's new ways to engage. And I've been really surprised and impressed of the creativity with organizations who have basically said the same thing is, we're going to make this fun. We're going to invite you to participate. And when you do, we're still able to participate and donate, which is the key, and feel good about that. But then we're also able, like you said, to tune in at our leisure, to learn more, to be entertained, to have the story, but also to enjoy the beverages and the food and make it a real experience. And I think while the experience is a little different, not being there technically in person as a big group, which we can't do, you really can do something special with the experience being more intimate and using the online platform. And so that's where I'm excited is it is a change for all of us, but when you accept that change and you say, we're going to do this, it really does open up some exciting opportunities in the way that you engage everyone and tell your story and have fun doing it. And so I think that this ultimately can be a big success. And that's why I'm hoping that everyone who's listening and tuning in will want to participate and enjoy it and also give back for the higher purpose.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention some of the corporate sponsors. We had Sedgwick, who's our major corporate sponsor, and then we have the several grateful parents who are sponsoring, help and as major sponsors. And so consequently, we've done fairly well. I mentioned to you how much I raised privately earlier, but we've done fairly well between the major and what I did this last week. So, yeah. But the main thing, what I wanted to do was to continue and to ensure to the public our presence in the community. I mean, the whole idea in 1999 was to bring awareness. And if we, even if we're out 1 year of Sparkling Nights, if we didn't have it and didn't have this virtual event, out of sight, out of mind issues become prevalent. So we're doing this also to number one, to make sure that our name is still out there, and we've worked extremely hard over the years in our growth and our commitment to being involved in the community as well. I want to also mention that we're even going to go into North Mississippi here real soon, and as far as employment's concerned, we got a call from the state and in regards to starting an employment program, particularly in the northern counties. And so, we're not letting a stone go unturned for the very special people, the developmentally disabled in our community, in our greater community.
Well, and that opens up obviously opportunities to connect with DeSoto County and beyond to have them a part of your mission as well. So talk about website, where to go to learn more about Sparkling Nights and to take those next steps.
Well, our website is www.srvs.org. And if everyone would just go to that website, and you can learn a little bit more about SRVS on the site. You can get the listing of all of our board members. Some of them you probably, folks out there probably know, but we have some really dedicated board members, and they are a godsend. SRVS is a godsend to the community as a whole.
Absolutely. So make sure everyone, SRVS, so the initials srvs.org, go to the website, check it out, the 22nd Annual Sparkling Nights, August 20th, and make sure you get involved. So, John, thank you for all you do, sir. Thank you for all you do for SRVS, for our community. You and your family, greatly appreciate you coming on the show.
Jeremy, thank you very much for this opportunity, and hope to see you soon. Take care.